our lunchtime video, Neil Atkinson, Gareth Roberts. I know what's going on, Gareth doesn't, so we're going to break that news to him one step at a time. First one then, Coutinho is going to be available for the entirety of pre-season because Brazil went out the Copa America.
Brazil are out, yeah, they got beat by Peru, didn't they?
So they're out, that's that.
They're out, they're gone. Quite glad about that in a selfish kind of way because I guess he can't show on a big stage what he can do and all that and that kind of thing, and they just have to rely on what he did for Liverpool last season.
But as well, I think that's what they rely on anyway, but his quotes afterwards as well very much reaffirm his commitment to Liverpool. Very looking forward to getting back working with Jurgen Klopp, making all the right noises, none of the want-away noises. So that suggests that there might not be, as much in it as people are saying. It might have been a bit of a silly season thing. Whilst he's over in Brazil, people can run wild with this stuff, but he's made all the noises of looking forward to getting back with Jurgen Klopp, and that's the first time he's spoken on the subject, and looking forward to his pre-season now, which you're going to start being worked hard from. He gets 4 weeks break from today, is Klopp's ruling on the international lads. He's got the date that he's set for them to come back from pre-season, and then all the lads who are out on international duty, it's 4 weeks from when their involvement finishes, is what he said. That's what the time he wants them to have off.
Seems fair.
Well, it does seem very fair, and it gives them a chance to rest, recuperate a little bit, but then come back and absolutely fly, and that's now what he's going to have to do, Coutinho. It's, he's going to be in the pre-season with everyone else, so that's another way in which this works, and that's a massive bonus for Liverpool.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, look, when we talked about it the other day and stuff, when we were saying, maybe there was something in it, I mean, I don't want to be like wise after the event, but I kind of thought it was a bit weird. I think I did say on one of the other videos that I thought it was weird because he's not pushed for a top wage. He seems happy being on a lower wage. He's never made the noises. You haven't had the agent thing. He seems relatively settled in Liverpool. Loads of pictures of him smiling around and about in Liverpool, and that. You generally don't get a vibe that that he wanted to go. And then I think, there was that quote, I think, where he was actually talking about the Copa America, saying, I'd like to win the Copa America because I want to win trophies. And I think people sort of, there was a bit of 2 and 2, wasn't there? And it ended up being, Liverpool aren't winning any, so...
Let's hope so. I mean, the key thing I would say is that, and I feel a little bit like this around the, even around Raheem Sterling in the end. You can make all the noise about wanting to go and win trophies, and yes, Sterling's picked the a League Cup with his medal up, but Liverpool got to 2 finals, and if you're in a final, what I'd say is, as a footballer, you're on the pitch, you can actually impact. You can actually impact whether or not you win trophies. And if Liverpool are getting you to 2 finals in a season, and that won't happen every season, but if Liverpool are getting you to 2 finals, well, it's as close to a guarantee as you're getting anywhere else that you're going to win trophies. I mean, the Leicester won the league, for God's sake. So it's important. So where do you want to move? Well, do you want to go to Arsenal? Well, they won 2 FA Cups 2 seasons ago, but they didn't look like winning anything at any point this season. At no point did that look like the Spurs pushed on. But what did Spurs look like they were going to win? United, Chelsea. There's no sure things, is what I'm driving at. So if he is happy here, if I was advising him, maybe there is an argument to say go to somewhere like Paris Saint-Germain when it's a bit of a one-team league at the moment, and you'll have a better than 50% chance of winning that league. But that feels a little false in comparison to being part of a battle with the lads here.
I still feel like he's got a. I mean, I'm in general terms happy with Coutinho, particularly last season, but I think he's still got to push on for me if he really wants to get. If he really does want this big move that was mooted the last few weeks, then I think he's got to go and do it again. I mean, last season, what did he get? 12. But I think in total for Liverpool, he scored 28 goals. Yeah. And that's not enough, given the ability he's got.
And the position he plays.
And the position he plays. And he's stepped up in terms of his goal scoring, obviously. And that's fantastic. But I think he's got to go and do it again and do it again. And then it's at that point where maybe the clubs that were mentioned, Barcelona and so on, may come looking, but as it stands, they've got an awful lot of talent in the side already. Coutinho goes there now. Does he get a game? Does he get the chance to show what he can do every single week? I would say probably not.
Other link to Liverpool, Zielinski. Liverpool have supposedly made a bid that's less than Udinese would like, but it's just they're after him. What's interesting though is that it pairs up with the simultaneous news that has been put by Melissa Reddy and others that Liverpool are beginning to accept they might not be able to get Dahoud this season, but will be very much after him in 12 months' time. That in a sense, they might be happy for him to stay at Mönchengladbach for another 12 months. It's interesting in a variety of different ways. I mean, that suggests it's Zielinski because they can't get Dahoud, because Mönchengladbach have sold 2 midfielders, so Liverpool might have the attitude of, well, he's developing well enough there. If we're still pretty confident we can be the side that gets him next season, it might be worth leaving him. I mean, often it doesn't work like that. It's football. Someone else can swoop in and they can have an incredible season, and someone else can swoop in ahead of Liverpool. But it does, the Zielinski thing to me feels like it's very much a move in the context of, well, we don't think we're going to get Dahoud.
Yeah, it does feel like that, doesn't it? I think that's how I've seen it discussed over social media over the weekend. That, you know, most reaction I saw was, oh well, if we're going big on him, we're not getting in, that sort of thing. I wonder also though how much does it impact maybe on Joe Allen, because his future seems to be totally up in the air. You obviously had Swansea last week making it really clear that they want him. He's then played fantastic for Wales in the Euros there, which, you know, like we just said about Coutinho, it puts him on a stage, if you like. You know, you'd think teams are now going to be saying, hang on, he's a decent player. He does it again against England, you know, in a couple of days, then, you know, his stock goes up even higher, I would say. So I wonder how it all influences that as well. You know, you haven't got the first choice fella you wanted in centre mid. You may be coming down a little bit of a level and going for this fella. Does it also influence what maybe we do with Joe Allen?
Yeah, could well do. Could influence Joe Allen, could influence the number of games you expect Henderson to play next season as well. That's in there too. And what he's going to do with Henderson, you know, it does suggest if he's bringing Zielinski in, you'd expect his first choice midfield.
Have you seen much of this fella, Zielinski?
Not really, no. He carries it. That's the key thing that keeps coming through, is that he picks it up in centre mid and runs with the ball. He's quite direct, but his numbers aren't great. There's not enough of kicking it in the goal for my liking. But as someone did point out to me yesterday in a Twitter conversation, centre mids on the whole these days, a lot of them don't get as many goals as you'd think that they get. And I think it's sometimes worth remembering in the context of our own players whose output we criticise, is that, you know, there aren't a ton of centre mids who are banging them in. I mean, because I was talking to Steve Graves whilst we were watching, it was a brilliant moment of, you know, how football's always just about to make an idiot of you. Literally, it's not an exaggeration. Literally, as the ball leaves Modric's foot, me and Steve Graves have just agreed with one another that as far as we're concerned, Modric doesn't get enough goals.
Score enough.
Doesn't get enough goals. And the ball, honestly, it's a fantastic. And honestly, as he connected with the ball, we just said that, and we were both like, well, he's made a show of us there, hasn't he? But we were in the conversation, we were looking at Modric's numbers, and it's shocking to say that Modric has never scored in the last 8 seasons. He hasn't scored as many league goals in any one of those seasons as Skirtle did in 13-14.
That's mad, isn't it?
And it's mad because he's a player with all the gifts in the world, so talented. But is this part of a sort of a football trend that, for instance, as we've remarked when we're jokingly comparing Lallana and Iniesta, that Iniesta's numbers aren't great, that Iniesta does not put the ball in the back of the net anywhere near as much as you might think that he would, but then he plays in a slightly different shape and so on and so forth. But I think it's generally an interesting thing. But this lad's also 21 as well, and that's often when midfielders kick on and become better in front of goal.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder. I mean, I might just be being a boring old fella here and moaning, but, you know, if we bought a fella already in Grujic, who's a young lad, and we buy another young lad who's more potential, how are we really improving the first team here? You know, that's my concern when I hear these ages. I just think, you know, can we really throw in another young lad? Bearing in mind that Emre Can's young as well, you know what I mean? It's I don't know, I'd quite like to see us, if possible, go a bit older, more experienced, more proven. But, you know, like I say, that could well be I'm being an old arse here.
No, it may well be, but it may not be. I mean, it would be nice to see one nailed on, you know, first game of next season. It'd be nice to see in each position sort of one nailed on. We've got better there in each of them across the boards, you know. So absolutely. For instance, at the back, it'd be quite. I think we've done it with the goalkeeper. We hope we've done it with the goalkeeper. Hopefully, it's Matip is that at centre back, but there might be one more to come anyway. Left back, improved first team, and then it might well be, you know, in what we can call sort of the midfield area. I think the one where it probably doesn't happen is attack, because it's difficult to improve on Daniel Sturridge. But in the midfield area, it'd be nice, wherever it is, where we play 4-2-3-1, for one of that 2 or 3 to be able to look at and go, we've got better there. We're now one step up in that position.
The forward situation as well, I keep seeing that getting discussed. I mean, it's a bad cliche this, and I apologise in advance, but Danny Ings will be like signing a new player. Well, I hope. But, you know, he's been out for so long, and he comes back. It sounds by all accounts that he's completely pumped up to go in and do something. I think he was just starting to really come good as well. You know, he scored in the derby, didn't he, and that sort of thing. I'm quite looking forward to seeing him. Just shout out there to Mike Nevin, who fumes about the fact that everyone says he works hard.
I like
he hates that.
Mike Neville's grumpy old man persona only gets grumpier as the days wear on. He's a lovely fella, Mike.
We love you, mate.
We love him very much. He's a lovely fella. Nowhere near as grumpy in real life, and then occasionally much grumpier than you might think on the Anfield rap. Listen, stuff coming out today. We've got a really good interview we did with Vicky Jepson, the Liverpool ladies coach, Vicky Jepson, developmental coach. We really enjoyed doing it. Thanks to her for coming and doing it, and that'll be out as a free podcast. Spread that about for us, because the ladies stuff we do, we know a lot of people aren't as interested in it as we are. We accept that, but what we're trying to do is have people in general find ways to talk about ladies football in a different way, and engagement is the first way in which you're going to get more and more girls and women playing football and keep them excited, keep the enjoyment up, and we talk a lot about that on this podcast. Also to come out today, there's going to be a Euros show detailing all the games up to the 2 o'clock kickoff today. It'll be recorded before then, and we'll get that out for you as quickly as possible. There's going to be a gutter where we're going to talk more about some of these things with Gareth. That's coming out as well. So there's 3 shows coming out today, and the Anfield rap came out yesterday, so you can listen to that whenever you're ready. That's sitting there ready for you to listen to, sitting there from yesterday. And we've just got more and more stuff going right the way through the week. I think we're recording something like 18 shows this week, which is absolutely crazy, but we're looking forward to all of them. So if you are subscribing to Tall Player, thank you very much. If you're not subscribing to Tall Player, it's your call, completely understand, but if you start having a little think about it, because being able to do things like the Vicky Jepson thing is because people subscribe. Huge thank you for Sean for producing this, Gareth for doing it. Let's go and have a lovely lunch. I'll see you in a bit.